Life moves like a river, carrying with it both clarity and turbulence. In this ever-changing flow, our energy can be easily touched by forces that disturb our inner calm. The mind, delicate and perceptive, can absorb not only beauty and peace, but also tension, fear, and negativity. Yet there is a practice, a subtle art carried through the ages, that acts as a guardian for the spirit, a ritual known as the protection seed. The protection seed is not a talisman of material power. It is a symbol, a living essence cultivated through mindful intention. When one holds it within consciousness, it becomes a barrier against the subtle invasions of negativity that pervade the world. Imagine a seed planted in fertile soil. It does not resist growth but allows energy to flow naturally while protecting the core of its being. So too does this ancient ritual cultivate inner strength and safeguard the heart from disturbances. To engage with the protection seed is to participate in an act of awareness. It begins with the quieting of the mind, observing breath and presence, acknowledging the currents of thoughts that rise and fall. In this space of clarity, one imagines the seed planted at the center of being. Its roots reach deep, anchoring the self in steadiness, while its branches stretch outward, forming a luminous shield that filters negativity. It is not the act alone that holds power, but the harmony of focus, intention, and reverence. Through this practice, one learns that energy is sacred. It is not to be wasted on anger, envy, or fear. Each thought carries vibration, each emotion carries weight. By nurturing the protection seed, the practitioner learns to recognize which influences serve growth and which deplete the spirit. Over time, the ritual cultivates resilience not as armor that blocks experience, but as clarity that allows the mind and heart to move freely without being tainted by external disturbances. In this world where shadows often press upon the light, the protection seed serves as a quiet reminder: the guardian of peace is always within. It asks only for mindfulness, care, and patience. It is a whisper that most storm can silence, a force that does not fight but balances, a symbol of harmony that endures. By honoring this ancient ritual, one walks through life not as a vessel easily shaken, but as a presence radiant, rooted, and free from the clutches of negativity. May this teaching, simple yet profound, guide those who seek serenity. May each heart that plants this seed in the garden of consciousness grow in calmness, wisdom, and the quiet strength to remain untouched by the shadows that drift across the world. Inner energy is precious. Our mind and spirit are sensitive and can absorb both positive and negative influences, making it essential to protect our inner energy. In the vast landscape of existence, the human spirit is a delicate flame, bright yet susceptible to the winds that sweep across life. Every interaction, every thought, every fleeting emotion carries with it energy, and this energy shapes the state of our inner being. It is often easy to overlook the subtle ways in which negativity seeps into our lives through harsh words, impatient thoughts, or even the silent weight of another's tension. These influences, though invisible, have the power to disturb the clarity of the mind and cloud the serenity of the heart. The truth is that energy is neither limitless nor indifferent. It is precious, and it must be tended to with care, as one would nurture a fragile plant that requires both sunlight and shelter to thrive. To live without awareness of this inner energy is to leave the self vulnerable to forces beyond one's control. When attention is not given to the quality of thoughts and emotions, one may find the spirit becoming restless, weighed down by unseen burdens, and swayed by negativity that is not truly one's own. Protecting the energy within is not a matter of avoidance or denial, but of conscious stewardship. It begins with the recognition that every thought, every sensation, and every engagement carries a resonance that either nourishes or depletes the soul. Understanding this is the first step toward cultivating a life of balance and inner calm. When one becomes attuned to the patterns of energy within and around them, it becomes possible to discern what is life-giving and what is draining. This awareness is gentle, like the rising sun illuminating the contours of the land, revealing both the fertile soil and the stones that must be navigated carefully. By valuing inner energy, one learns to make choices with intention, to engage with the world without losing oneself to its turbulence. The mind, once trained in this art of discernment, begins to respond with clarity and steadiness rather than reacting impulsively to every disturbance. One comes to understand that negativity does not need to be confronted with aggression, nor does it need to dominate the spirit. By honoring the sacredness of one's own energy, a natural boundary is formed, a quiet shield that allows for presence, compassion, and discernment to flourish. In this way, life becomes a practice of tending to the inner flame, of recognizing the forces that nourish it and those that threaten its glow, and of choosing moment by moment to cultivate peace. Through this recognition, the individual steps into a life guided not by fear or reaction, but by reverence for the delicate and luminous energy that animates every thought, every action, and every experience. It is this awareness, this care for one's own inner world, that lays the foundation for a life of balance, resilience, and serenity. The protection seed as a symbol, this ancient ritual represents planting a seed of mindfulness and intention which grows into a shield against negativity. The protection seed is not merely an object or a symbol to be held outwardly, it is a living essence that exists within the consciousness, subtle yet powerful. It represents the potential for balance, clarity, and resilience. A reminder that within each person lies the capacity to cultivate harmony even amidst life's disturbances. Just as a tiny seed contains within it the blueprint of a mighty tree, so too does this ritual contain the power to foster strength and protection in the heart. It is not through force or imposition that the protection seed works, but through careful attention, gentle cultivation, and mindful intention. By envisioning this seed within the core of one's being, one begins to establish a sacred center, a place untouched by external chaos and unshaken by fleeting negativity. This is the seed's quiet miracle. It does not resist life, nor does it reject the world. Rather, it creates a stable foundation from which the spirit can interact freely and fully, without being depleted or disturbed. To engage with the protection seed is to engage with awareness itself. Each time attention is returned to the seed, it is nourished. Each moment of conscious thought or deliberate breath strengthens its roots. Over time, the seed grows not into a rigid barrier but into a luminous presence, a shield formed of clarity and intention, flexible yet steadfast. It is a form of protection that is organic and alive, attuned to the rhythms of life rather than imposing artificial boundaries. The ritual teaches a profound truth. True safeguarding of energy is not external but internal. It is cultivated in the mind, nourished by focus, and reinforced by understanding. When the seed is planted in consciousness, it radiates outward like ripples on water, subtly influencing the environment, softening the impact of negativity, and allowing positive forces to enter freely. This ancient practice, carried quietly through generations, reminds us that protection is not achieved through aggression or avoidance, but through presence and care. The seed symbolizes the deliberate act of turning inward, finding the point of stillness amidst the flux, and establishing a space where one's spirit can remain intact, luminous, and free. By holding this seed with mindful intention, one learns to recognize and honor the energies that support growth, and to gently release those that diminish it. In this way, the protection seed is not a passive symbol but a guide, a companion that nurtures balance, strengthens resilience, and fosters a harmony that permeates every aspect of life. It is both a tool and a teacher, offering the wisdom that protection begins not in resistance to the world, but in the cultivation of a steadfast and luminous inner life. Mindful practice is key. The ritual involves quieting the mind, focusing on breath and awareness, and visualizing the seed to anchor and protect the self. To engage with the protection seed is to enter a space of deep awareness where the mind is quieted and the heart becomes receptive to subtle energies. The practice begins not with external rituals or elaborate gestures, but with the simple, profound act of observing one's own breath. In the gentle rhythm of inhalation and exhalation, the mind finds a still point, a sanctuary where awareness can settle without distraction. It is in this quiet space that the seed is imagined, planted at the center of being and allowed to take root. Visualization is not an idle exercise, it is a deliberate shaping of consciousness. The mind, once trained to focus with intention, channels energy toward the seed, nurturing it with attention, clarity, and presence. As the seed grows within the heart, it forms a natural shield not through force, but through alignment with the rhythms of life and the energy of awareness itself. This practice teaches that protection is not something imposed from the outside, but something cultivated from within. The mind becomes like fertile soil, receptive to light, nourishment, and balance, and resistant to the subtle disturbances that can arise from fear, anger, or worry. Each moment spent in mindful observation strengthens the seed's presence, reinforcing the shield of clarity and calm. As the practitioner continues this ritual, the act of visualization expands beyond mere imagery. The seed is no longer a static object but a living essence connected to every thought, every emotion, and every interaction. It teaches that mindfulness is both the soil and the water that allow resilience to grow, that attention and intention are the sunlight that nourishes inner stability. By repeatedly returning to the seed, one trains the mind to recognize when it is being influenced by negativity, and to gently guide itself back to the center. This practice does not deny life's challenges, nor does it create a barrier against experience. Instead, it allows the mind to engage fully with reality while remaining anchored in a space of balance and awareness. Over time, this daily discipline fosters a natural equilibrium, where the heart is neither overwhelmed by external disturbances nor closed to the richness of life. The protection seed becomes a companion, silently reinforcing the inner space where clarity, compassion, and strength coexist. In essence, this ritual teaches that true protection is cultivated moment by moment through mindfulness, visualization, and conscious intention. It is a reminder that the energies within us are as significant as the energies around us, and that by attending to them with care, we create a life of serenity, resilience, and luminous presence where negativity no longer holds dominion, and the spirit moves freely, anchored in its own quiet strength. Resilience through awareness. By nurturing the protection seed, one learns to recognize harmful influences and cultivate resilience, allowing the mind to remain unshaken without avoiding life. As the protection seed grows within consciousness, it begins to reveal a deeper truth about the nature of resilience. Life is not a calm pond untouched by winds, it is a river that flows with unpredictable currents, carrying experiences both joyful and challenging. In this ever-moving flow, the mind and heart are often exposed to influences that are not inherently ours, words spoken in haste, emotions radiated from others, the tension of a world in motion. Yet, by nurturing the protection seed, one learns to recognize these energies without becoming entangled in them. Awareness becomes the lens through which experience is observed, and discernment emerges as a natural companion. It is not a form of detachment born from avoidance or fear, but a clarity that allows the self to respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. Each moment becomes an opportunity to see what nourishes and what diminishes the spirit. This recognition fosters resilience because the practitioner begins to understand that while external circumstances may be beyond control, the response to them is not. The seed nurtures a kind of inner armor, not rigid and unyielding, but flexible and responsive, capable of withstanding the pressures of life without fracturing. Negativity, when encountered, is no longer a force that overwhelms or dictates the state of being. It is a passing energy, acknowledged and released with awareness. Through this process, the mind learns to differentiate between the fleeting and the enduring, between what belongs to the self and what is merely passing through. Over time, resilience cultivated in this way becomes effortless, like the strength of a tree rooted deeply in fertile soil. Its branches bend in the wind, yet its core remains firm. The protection seed, nourished by mindfulness and intention, becomes the foundation of this inner fortitude. It teaches that strength does not arise from resistance or denial, but from understanding, presence, and care for one's own energy. As one practices this awareness, life's challenges are no longer threats to stability, but opportunities to exercise discernment and cultivate calm. The practitioner begins to move through the world with a quiet confidence, carrying a shield that is not imposed from outside, but emerges naturally from within. Resilience, therefore, is not an abstract ideal. It is a living quality grown through patient attention, conscious care, and the gentle cultivation of inner energy. By honoring the protection seed, one steps into a life where disturbances do not dictate the rhythm of the spirit, where clarity guides action, and where the heart moves freely, unburdened by the negativity that drifts through the currents of existence. In this way, the ritual offers more than protection, it offers the wisdom of balance, the strength of presence, and the freedom to engage with life fully, without losing the luminous core that resides within. Harmony over force. The practice is not about fighting negativity, but about balancing, maintaining inner calm, and allowing positive energy to flow freely while remaining protected. The essence of the protection seed lies not only in shielding the mind from negativity, but in cultivating a sense of harmony that permeates every aspect of life. True protection is not a matter of fighting or repelling external forces, it is an art of balance, a way of aligning oneself with the natural flow of energy while maintaining a clear, steady center. When the seed is nurtured, it forms a luminous presence within the heart, a quiet yet powerful shield that does not push against the world, but rather allows life to unfold without compromising inner peace. This harmony arises from awareness, patience, and the gentle recognition that energy responds to intention. By maintaining a mindful connection to the seed, one begins to notice the subtle rhythms of life, the ebb and flow of thoughts, the resonance of emotions, and the unseen currents that influence both the self and the world around. In this state, the mind learns to move fluidly, like water navigating rocks and obstacles, neither resisting nor being swept away. The practice teaches that negativity is transient, that its influence is only as strong as the attention it receives, and that the true sanctuary exists within one's own awareness. When harmony is cultivated in this way, the protection seed transforms from a symbol into a living guide, informing every action, thought, and interaction. It encourages the practitioner to respond rather than react, to engage with life fully without becoming entangled in fear, resentment, or distraction. This inner balance radiates outward, creating a subtle field of stability that gently influences the surroundings, softening tensions and fostering calm in both self and others. Over time, this cultivated harmony becomes a natural state, a foundation from which clarity, compassion, and wisdom can arise. It is a reminder that protection is not about building walls, but about creating space, a space in which energy flows freely yet is not depleted, where the heart remains open yet steady, and where the mind remains alert yet untroubled. In honoring the protection seed, one honors the sacredness of life itself, recognizing that the forces which seek to disturb are part of the natural world but need not dictate the inner state. Through this practice, every challenge becomes an opportunity to reaffirm balance, every interaction a chance to strengthen the luminous center within. The seed teaches that resilience and harmony are inseparable, that to protect the self is not to withdraw, but to engage consciously and wisely. And that true freedom arises from the alignment of intention, awareness, and presence. By embracing this principle, one walks through life not as a being buffeted by circumstance, but as a presence anchored in clarity, flowing with grace and protected by the quiet strength that comes from nurturing the inner seed. In this way, the protection seat serves as both shield and guide, a timeless ritual that allows the spirit to remain luminous, unshaken, harmoniously attuned to the world, even amidst the currents of uncertainty and change.